hope you like this video. Just subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more content just like this. Rikki Clarke's with us. Now, the big question, there's only one question we've got to answer here. Okay, you ready for it?
Okay.
Will Spurs win the league?
Will
they?
Do you know what? It's the biggest chance we're ever going to have, I reckon. It's actually quite funny because I've got quite a few group chats that I'm in on WhatsApp with fellow Spurs friends and stuff, and they think I'm very anti-Jose. But I'm not. I actually want him to do well. I just feel that sometimes his philosophy and way of going about things is a little bit dated. That's all. But he's a winner. I think the squad now is looking very, very strong. Yeah, who knows? We keep on nicking points when we shouldn't really. So I think, yeah, fingers crossed. We've got a good chance, but I'm not gonna put my house on it. Just
Spursy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, that being a Spurs fan, you get so much hope, and then you just get brought back down to earth a little bit. So it's actually good just to enjoy it while it lasts. A big month coming up, actually. We've got
you've got
City, Chelsea,
and Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool in the next 5 games. Liverpool away as well.
Yeah. So realistically, if you're coming out of that and you're still up there, then yeah, massive chance.
I must admit, I do apologise to everybody we interview here because I end up stalking you. So I'm looking at your Twitter and I'm looking at your Instagram and all that kind of thing. And to be fair to you, there was an Instagram of Poch where obviously got it, Poch is going. But you did say, I'm pleased for Jose. But as you know, deep down, seriously, I mean, you couldn't be after, Chelsea and what Jose's been, even though he's doing unbelievable at the moment. Surely deep down you're thinking, oh, bloody hell.
Well, that's the thing. Unfortunately, I was massive fan of Poch, what he did. I felt he needed a little bit more backing. People would say he got the backing and got to spend money. But I feel that when the results came in after a period of time, unfortunately, it was looking that way that he had to go. And the first person I said that I wanted to come in and who would be good for Spurs was Jose.
Really?
Because he's a winner. He's a winner. And what I said was I was happy that he would come in, it would be boring, negative football. We'd win 1-0, maybe or 2-0, that sort of style. And I was prepared for that. As long as we, progressed and won trophies. Now, on the flip side of that, it come in and we're scoring loads and loads of goals. But a classic case is, I believe, against West Ham, that we went so defensive, and I always, even in cricket, I always said that the best form of defence is attack. And I think sometimes when we're on top, we sit back and invite teams on, and it puts the pressure on us. Where I think sometimes we're better off just keep going and keep going. But that's the situation that I feel he's a winner. And as I said, something just feels, I don't know, it just feels a bit strange at the minute that we might be going in the right direction. And that's obviously, as a Spurs fan, that's what you want.
But I mean, Harry Redknapp was, I think, the first I saw. I do a football show every Friday, and I saw Harry Redknapp, and it wasn't on the back of Harry Redknapp. I was just looking at Spurs on Dombele, who hadn't features, but he's obviously a good player. He buys Rikki on the left back. Bale. I mean, Son's got to be, one of the greatest players and one of the greatest team players. You've got Harry Kane, you've got Bergwijn. I mean, the squad is unbelievable. I mean, for a Spurs fan of yore, have you ever seen an attacking lineup, bizarrely with Jose in charge, an attacking lineup like that? No.
I think that's where you have to say credit to him and Daniel Levy, that they've actually gone out and said, right, well, we had Son and Kane anyway, yes, but we've just added to it with Gareth Bale. Reguilon looks exciting. I think the only downside to that is I think Real Madrid might be, hang on a minute, we'll come back and have him for the price that we've agreed in the contract. So, that is Spursy, isn't it? You get an absolute gun left back, and then next thing you know, he's gone for a snippet of the price when he's, when he looks really promising. But no, as I said, the squad just looks so strong. And you look at it now that if you did have a little injury here and there, you can actually look at people coming on and saying, actually, it's not really damaged us too much, and we can still compete. You know, I'm a massive fan of Dele Alli, and he's not even getting a look in.
Can't even get in.
And you know, different reasons potentially on that, which I don't agree with, because I think he's a world-class footballer, and you know, you manage different players differently, and I'd love to see Dele featuring more, because him with the other front three would be so exciting.
We will talk cricket in a minute. If there was a hero, if you have one Spurs hero, who would it be? Who was your fella?
But growing up,
yeah, growing up, or
Paul
your Spurs supporting career, really.
Yeah, Paul Gascoigne. For me, 91 was the one. So used to travel everywhere with my dad and watch Spurs. And 91 was the feature where Gazza sort of really stood out for me a lot more during that FA Cup run. Obviously, it didn't work out too well for him in the final, but he pretty much single-handedly got us to the final to win that FA Cup. And you know, being a young lad, being at the old Wembley, it was just brilliant, really.
Fantastic. Did you go to the Champions League final?
I did, yes. Alex Stewart, he gave me a day to go and said, be sensible, and we need you back here training because we've got a game in a couple of days. So that was quite good. Obviously very disappointing. But the fact...
What was the whole experience like, though? I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, to be honest with you. I mean, he couldn't work it out, because you just wondered if, to coin a phrase, your name was on the cup because of what you'd done, the way you'd got to the final.
Yeah.
Or then Kane was injured, or on the other flip side, whether your race was run, kind of thing. You just didn't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing where I think Poch took a bit of stick for the team that he played. Like, everyone was saying, oh, you can't play Kane. You know, he's not up to the races. Moura deserves to start because of what he did in the semi-final. And there's an argument for that. But then on the flip side, if you still go and lose a game, why have you got your best striker on the bench? He's Harry Kane. So he couldn't really win. So it just started off really badly. Within 20 odd seconds, there's a penalty, and you think, oh, it's a long way back now. But a fantastic day still to be at a final, and unfortunately didn't quite get over the line. But hopefully there's another one in the future.
How are you anyway? I see you've been doing your bike rides, and you're starting again. As pre-season, what I mean, it's your testimonial year as well, isn't it?
Yes. So I've been awarded a testimonial. I've started my own cricket academy, and I'm also sort of training, basically. We're not back yet, but I like to keep myself fit, and normally when the season finishes, I enjoy myself. I eat what I want, drink what I want, just because it keeps me sane, really. Normally, like the England lads, they have to be on it 12 months of the year. So I'm a bit fortunate because we finish end of September, and I'm not really required until April to do something strenuous. So I have a couple of months off, and then build myself up and get back training.
What will your playing commitments be? I mean, Surrey's team's unbelievable. I mean, you got so many players. What will your commitments be? Will it be across all formats, or how's it going to shape up?
Well, that's a conversation to be had, really, with Victor Lanke and Alex Stewart. I still want to feature in all formats. Hopefully they see that as well. Mainly the last 2 seasons, I've not really featured in the T20. So I had a bad start the end of last, so what are we on now? So 2019, didn't have a really good T20 campaign. So got dropped from the side there, and I only featured a couple of games this year. So that's for me to, you know, try and force my way back in, and I still want to be involved in all formats, ideally.
How do you feel? How do you keep yourself fit? Do you look after yourself?
Yes and no. Yes and no, I'd probably say. I've always been someone who knows my body and knows what I need to, you know, perform and to perform well. If I was younger and getting picked for England, it probably wouldn't work that way. So I think it's a case of the experience that I've got and knowing my body. And the good thing is that Surrey, they're brilliant. They understand that, you know, I'm very rarely injured, and because I know my body and I've got the experience, they sort of give me that leeway, which is quite good. I don't take the mick as well. I train as much as I can and feel what I need. I try and lose weight the best I can, and get myself ready for games.
I'm based down in Kent at the moment. Of course, Darren Stevens I mean, he was chomping at the bit. He was player of the season again. He was chomping at the bit to get in the T20 side. I mean, I guess in a way, I mean, I suffer with everybody's ageist. There's no getting away. It's the ism that isn't talked about.
Yeah.
And God love Darren, because one, his enthusiasm is so great, but he must be for somebody like you to think, well, blooming heck, if he's doing it. In fact, you got compared to Darren. You bowled a Darren Stevens type spell. I think it was your 5 against Ken. He bowled like Darren. So I thought it's like a compliment, but a backhanded compliment as well. But you know, he's an inspiration, isn't he, the fella?
Well, he is. What's he? 45 now, I think.
45.
Yeah. So he likes his cycling as well. So it might be something in the cycling, just taking the load off the legs and running. Maybe cycling's the way forward. But yeah, that spell I had a little niggle, and Surrey were like, look, we still need you to bowl. I was like, well, okay, look, I'll come off a couple of paces, and I even said a bit like Steve-O, and I could try and put it in an area, and I ended up getting 5 for 20. And after the game, unfortunately, we lost the game. I was speaking to Steve-O, and I ended up doing like a crazy spell. It was like a really long, like 13, 14 over spell or something. And he came up to me and said, look, even though you're shorting it down, max 7. They'll take the mick, max 7. So I was like, he's saying just max 7 overs.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll be on all day. I said, do you know what? Bowling like that, I could have bowled all day.
Brilliant.
So maybe there's a conversation we had with the Surrey bowling coach, Richard Johnson, to see if I can keep that.
Have you set a target? I mean, do you say I'm going to play a couple of years, or do you just want to see how you are, kind of thing?
Basically, just see how I am.
Do you like it as much? Are you still as enthusiastic about it?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm honest, I think the one thing that will stop me will probably be the pre-seasons. The actual cricket side of it I can do, but already, like, even like these couple of bike rides, it was tough yesterday. The other day, sorry, tough again today. It's always going to be tough when you first start out for the first time. But I think when I speak to a lot of people that are retired, they say you're a long time retired, but a lot of the time it's the pre-seasons and the training that actually makes you step away from it, rather than the cricket side of it.
Tell us about your testimonial. What have you got anything lined? Well, I guess you have. What have you got planned? COVID, of course, taken into account. Yeah,
so I've got basically a committee involved, and a chairman, and they basically look to do everything for me. They going to run events. I think at the moment it's the situation where we're not sure what's going to happen because of COVID. So it's just basically at this moment in time a wait and see. But fingers crossed, we can get back to normal, and I can turn up to some events and raise some money for some 2 great charities that I'll be supporting as well.
Tell us about your academy as well. I mean, I was in touch with the Players Cricket Association, a guy I know, Tom Jones, and he was telling me about your academy. Go on. What is it? And is it? I've been reading all about it. It looks quite sort of impressive, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So again, unfortunately, COVID has sort of like stopped it this month. So I was in the pipeline of starting probably early October. Then there was a little bit of, I wanted to make sure everything was right before I started. So because of the first sort of lockdown, everything was a bit of a stumbling block and backdated. So I just wanted to make sure everything was right. We were all ready to go and get things up and running. And then obviously this second lockdown has hit. So it's in a great position. So when we do come out of lockdown, we can start it up. It's basically just coaching from ages 5 and up. We offer a range of different coaching. A lot of the time I'll be there as much as I can. I've got ECB qualified coaches wanting to work as well. Partnerships with local cricket clubs in and around the Wiltshire, Berkshire, Surrey and Hampshire areas, private schools. Basically we're ticking all the boxes to try and get out there and develop some younger kids and to improve older ones.
Is it coaching?
Not really. I was geared up to be going out to Dubai. My dad's been in Dubai the last 12, 13 years in property. So the last sort of few winters I've been out in Dubai, suited and booted, in that hot weather is a nightmare. Basically learning the ropes of, the business world, and basically was going to sort of like take over from him so he could put his feet up and sort of retire. But then sort of coaching sort of come about a little bit. There was an opportunity that I should look at, and that's what I'm doing.
Do you know what? It's weird because I was parking my car and this fella said to me, "You Rob McCaffrey?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "Oh, I'm Rikki Clarke's dad."
Oh, really?
I've just come back from Dubai. We were in Dubai for 11 years.
Yeah.
I was working there. And I went, "Rikki Clarke's dad?" He went, yeah. Because I don't know, maybe one of my lads, came back with the bat and the ball or something. I have no idea. So he goes, "Yeah, Rikki Clarke's dad." I didn't know he was in property, to be honest with you. Is he still out there, is he?
Yeah, he's still out there. He's been out there, yeah, I think 12, 13 years.
Why come on to this weather? My wife, she's got a face like a wet week because she just wants to go straight back.
Straight back to Dubai. Well, I think they've actually now, there's no quarantine, is there, when you come back?
No, it's on, yeah. Back the other day, quarantine. But, I mean, I've seen you obviously like the place and all that kind of. It's the weather as much, and you've pre-seasoned a lot, I guess, in Dubai as well.
It's one thing that you guaranteed, that you've got the weather so you can get outside training. We was the last couple of years been at the ICC Academy.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Brilliant facilities. You can get all your cricket done. They've got an indoor football as well, so lads used to love their football, but that's been taken away from us now, unfortunately. There's been a few injuries, so there's no more football. But yeah, it's just the weather and to get away and prep ready for the season is brilliant.
Is it a scary thought that what happens when, not just you, but when all professional sportsmen, professional cricketers have to stop, because it's such an intense, it's a great lifestyle, it's an intense lifestyle. When it does stop, it's pretty hard to go, what do I do next?
I think that's where, over the years, a lot of the time I've taken experience from people who they've said prepare, get yourself prepared for the end. You don't know when the end's going to be, but if you're prepared for it, then it makes that transition a lot smoother and a lot easier. So I think the ones that they struggle is they don't see it coming, or they haven't prepared for it, and then they get to that stumbling block of, right, what do I do now? And then there's that sort of lull, and they're sort of panicking and looking, because fundamentally you've got to put food on the table and a roof over your head. So it's that's when people can get a little bit worked up and stressed by it. So if you're prepared, I think that's a smooth transition.
How tough is a cricket season, mentally as much as anything?
I think it's getting harder because the fixtures are so congested. There's been times in a county season where I've gone I played in a 4-day game. We've travelled the next day somewhere like 2.5, 3 hours away, and then played a 4-day the day after getting there. So you're literally doing 8 days out of 9. You then have a 1-dayer on another the day after that. Then you go into like a T20 comp, and it'll be T20 day off, T20. And it's more the travel and the hotels, I think, more than the actual physical side of playing. Because once you're playing, the adrenaline takes over, and you just sort of slip back into that mode of playing. I think a lot of the time it can be the traveling.
What about mentally, if you're going through a difficult spell? I think that, I guess cricket it's an individual sport within a team sport, isn't it? And it must be so frustrating when you think, I can play this stupid game, and then sometimes it just goes, doesn't it?
Well, the first thing is stay off Twitter or Instagram. Like, if you go, that's the first thing you do. Like, if you're going through a bit of a bad patch, or you're dropping clangers at slip or something, just delete your app for a little bit. No, it can be difficult, but I think I'm a big believer that if you're working hard enough and you're still working hard on your game, looking back, we've got so much video analysis now. If you're looking back at those good performances, picking out little things, having a look at what you're doing at this current time where you are struggling, you can sort of like iron out those little dints that you've got, I suppose, in your game that you can iron out, and hopefully it rewards you with a bit of luck along the way as well.
I've read a lot of stuff about you. You said England came too soon for you. Is that right?
I think it did. Yes, you're never going to turn it down. But I'd played 9 first-class matches, and unfortunately, as good as a coach Duncan Fletcher was for me, and the way he spoke, there was one thing that sort of stood out for me when I was younger. and I'd just been picked for England, and it sort of made me think that I've been picked by someone else, not by Fletch. And it was like, have you always batted like this? We're on a Sri Lanka tour. Have you always batted like this? I was like, well, yes, this is what's predominantly, I suppose, got me here, because I've had a bit of success at the county game. He said, you'll never score runs at international level with that technique. So naturally, you know, I'm going to listen. And
thanks for that, coach.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think, you know, back then it was, people had a coaching method, and it worked for a lot of players, and Fletcher was one of those that worked for a lot of players. And it sort of didn't work for me, unfortunately. So I found myself out the side anyway by changing. Early stages as well, I changed my bowling action probably 3-4 times a season, because I had England coach, I had an academy coach, I had Surrey coaches, all got different ways of doing it. I think that's the good thing about now, is the communication with coaches. So you go from county coach to maybe an England academy coach to the England bowling coach, and they'll all be, right, this is what we've done. Okay, well, we'll work with that as well with him, or having a conversation, where back then it probably didn't really work that way. But the thing is as well, if you don't change and you stick with what you know, and that's the biggest regret I have, is not sticking to what got me there in the first place. But with that, there's a flip side, that if you don't do what they're saying and you don't listen, you get that, oh, he's young, he thinks he knows it all, he's not willing to learn or progress. So you're in that sort of catch-22 situation. But you know, maybe that was the career I was meant to have. I was meant to play a few times for England and play county cricket for most of my career.
What was your best spell in county cricket? What have you enjoyed? Obviously, winning championships helps, but is there a spell where you feel, like all of us, you feel comfortable in a team, you enjoy the surroundings, you enjoy the coaching? There must have been really good spells. Yeah,
I think early stages would have been 2002 at Surrey. The side that we had there was fantastic. Just basically 11 internationals with 3 or 4 sitting on the sidelines. So we used to rock up at games. It was just so exciting to be involved with. We had a bit of an arrogance about us as well, but the arrogance was because we were delivering skills and winning games. So it's quite a good insight for me, being young, coming into a side like that, full of all these stars. 2012 with Warwickshire, again, international cricketers throughout, but we had a team that wanted to win for each other. The environment was fantastic. We had coaches that were fantastic. Ashley Giles was part of that. Graham Welsh, who was a massive influence on my bowling over the last few years. He's the one that actually got me to be more consistent. So throughout that was an amazing time. And then you can't beat 2018 coming back, you know, from age of 9 I was involved with Surrey. So coming back and winning the championship with that side. Morné Morkel was fantastic, and pleasing that Alex Stewart, you know, director of cricket, was involved and built up with the younger lads in the squad to get those winning games and trophies, and winning that was fantastic.
I saw you picked your all-time Surrey team. Who's the I won't pin you down on this, best batsman you bowled at?
Oh, best batsman I bowled at.
One you thought, gee whiz, I can't put it anywhere, he's going to smash me or whatever.
Yeah. It's a tricky. Do you know what? Ben Stokes is difficult. Bowling at Ben Stokes. So I've bowled at Lara before, but it was only a few balls and luckily got him out. I think the time is when you bowl at someone, you know I can't get you out. So Ben Stokes has always been up there. He's just very dominant, very aggressive, sort of like stands tall, sort of comes at you, and you always feel a bit under pressure. You feel that even a ball going away or in and stuff, you know, he can deal with it quite comfortably. Probably can at my pace, like 72 mile an hour, so it's probably quite easy for him.
Steve, come on.
Yeah. It's like underarms coming down. So, but no, he's always been one. Marcus Trescothick always used to be in the county game. He used to always score off your good balls. So you're thinking, I've just bowled my best ball, and he's literally just dropped a bat on it. He's guided it down the third man for 4. So you've then got to move a third man in to stop that, and then they crunch you through the covers, and just very good and elegant the way he used to play. So they're the two.
Best bowler. Sorry.
Couple of left-handers by the looks of things. I don't know left-handers.
Best bowler you faced.
Best bowler I faced, Muralitharan. Fantastic. Just you can hear the fizz of the ball coming down. You just don't know which way it's going to go. I remember he played at Kent actually, and everyone was saying, look, when it's outside, right outside off stump, whatever you do, don't drive. You know, he's going to try and get you through the gate. So I'm young, thinking, oh yeah, like that. Anyway, I saw this ball. I was like, oh, I can drive that straight from a gate. So I've gone in. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I thought he was there to hit. And the moment he turned the ball, it was fantastic. So he always had you under pressure and was difficult to face. Shoaib Akhtar, for obvious reasons, just so fast. Faced him a few times, and just the pace of him was ridiculous.
Were you ever scared batting?
Probably, I'll tell you now, maybe that time, because I couldn't actually see it. And this was international. It was down at Sophia Gardens. Ian Bell was at the other end, literally just knocking it about, playing it with so much time. Yeah, proper cigar on. And I'm there going, phew, phew, like out the way, ducking and diving. But it was just so fast. And the fact as well, with his run-up, it's such a long run-up, you have so much time to think. So you're standing there and you're like, come on, mate, hurry up. And then things start going through your head. The crowd are obviously get reared up for him when he's steaming in. I think that was the only time where not so much scared, but I felt that I could get hurt here. So that was a case there because it was so fast.
Best bowler you've seen, best bowler you played with? Apart from Jade Dernbach, who obviously is totally underrated, by the way.
Yes, he does. He is underrated a lot, Jada. I think it's how he comes across to people. He's a bit Marmite, is Jada, unfortunately. He's love him or hate him, but I definitely love him. He's been a mate of mine for years, and I know what he can offer and what he can do, and the skills that he's got. And he should have played a lot more for England as well.
It was the first. He was, I think, obviously the whole thing. But in my going back, he was one of the first. The slow ball out the back of the hand, and he had skills to pay the bills, didn't he? Really?
Yeah, good Yorker, good pace. The thing is as well with him, when he was with England, he bowled the tough overs. It was around that time when the power play sort of come in. So if bowl in the power play, then they'd have a batting power play, and he'd have to come and bowl into that. And then at the death, he'd bowl at the death. So it was like, his economy, but his actual economy for the times that he's bowled was fantastic. But never really got the recognition that it deserved.
Pioneer.
Yeah. Massively.
Sorry, apart from Jade, give us a bowler.
Jeetan Patel's been fantastic. When I was at Warwickshire, he basically, I believe, changed it a little bit in the philosophy and the thought process of spinning in England. And he's fantastic. The way he worked on his game in the morning, the way he spoke to people and helped them out, and the way he looked to do different things during the course of a game. So he'd bowl say one evening and he'd go, oh, it's not quite worked that way. So the next morning he'd put a cone out to what he thinks will work, and then he'll work on that. So then when he goes into the game that next morning, he's then on the button for that. And the success he had, he used to work out batters really, really well and just have a nous of how to bowl. So he was fantastic. Chris Wokes, literally on a string, just fantastic. Good pace, good zip, well directed bouncer. Again, I believe he's been underrated a lot for a period of time, and now we're starting to see how good he can be. Just a good all-round cricketer and also a great bloke with it, which is always a benefit.
Biggest lunatic. Maddest. The Gaza of cricket.
Jason Roy's up there. He's a loose cat. Yeah, J Roy is a loose cat. You always sort of leave the changing room when he's got out. He could have 326 and something's getting smashed in that training room. Yeah, he's a bit of a loose cat, but you got to love J-Roy. He's the good thing about J-Roy is just so, I don't know how he's just brilliant. He's someone that you just love J-Roy, and he's just consistent with how he is day in, day out. But yeah, he's a lot of fun to be around, J-Roy.
Are you still learning?
Yes. Yeah, always. And I try to, for me, being an experienced player in the age I am, I try and give out experiences and knowledge to younger lads. But at the same point, I'm learning from them as well. And that's a good thing that we've got at Surrey at the moment. We've got that sort of mix of a few older guys, a few in the middle, and then the younger generation coming through. And what's impressive with these younger guys is how they're willing to talk, willing to listen, give advice themselves, and that's a good environment to be in. They're very mature, I think, for their age. And you've seen that with the likes of Ollie Pope and Sam Curran and Tom Curran and stuff like that going into England. So they're very respectful of their elders, which is always good as well. But yeah, I'm always learning from younger guys, and hopefully they can learn from me as well.
I hate. I'm not going to end on this one, and I don't like ending on a negative. But do you wish it was starting out for you again in terms of the opportunities, say like the Big Blast, the IPL? I mean, it would have suited your game as now it would, but as a younger man, and also the financial benefits that come with that. The Caribbean Premier League, the Pakistan Premier League, South Africa. I mean, it's becoming a huge worldwide game, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. In terms of the tournaments, financially, obviously, you'd love to, because that's pretty much going to set you up for life. But I think even if you spoke to Sam Curran in maybe 18 years' time or 20 years' time, he would still say, I wish I knew then what I know now. And that's the same with me. I really wish that what I know now, I knew back then, because I would have been a completely different cricketer that maybe would have seen me play for England more, which maybe would have seen me play these tournaments at a stage of my career, maybe 10 years ago or 8 years ago and stuff. So it's always, people develop at different times, but it's amazing what I suppose that's what it comes down to when people say he's got the experience. I've got the experience now, but I wish I knew that back then, because it could have been a different outcome.
We're only in November, aren't we? Are you looking forward to the new season if COVID goes? We hope there's a vaccine and all that kind of thing. Are you looking forward to the whole thing again?
Yeah, because it means I'm not on my bike, and the fitness side of things have sort of stopped, and I'm playing cricket. So that's what I look for, yeah. Because it's the only time when you're playing cricket, it's the only time you sort of get a rest from the fitness side of it. No, I am. I think it's important for cricket as a whole, and for the world really, that we get out of this and we can get back to some sort of normality. But it is important for cricket, in my opinion, maybe to survive, that we get back and have crowds in, because that's obviously a financial boost for cricket that is missed out on the last few months of last season.
Your son looks a good player.
Yeah, he keeps on saying, "Oh, I'm going to play for Surrey in England. I will play football for Southampton." And I was like, "What are you going to do, mate? A golfer and a motor racing driver as well? Like, you can't have it all." But no, do you know what? It's good, because yes, he has his technology, and he plays FIFA and Nintendo Switch and all that side of things, but he loves being out and playing all the time.
It is weird, isn't it? It is in the genes, but what I've seen of him, and obviously daughter's got the horses and whatnot, but the way he just hits it's just natural, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, we're constantly out playing cricket or football. As you say, my daughter loves her horse riding, so it's good that we've got two kids that love being outside and not just cooped inside all the time with their technology. So that's a good side of it.
Hey, listen, thanks a lot.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Really, really lovely talking to you. Let's keep in touch. We'll watch with great. So really will.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed that we can get back to normal and up to the Oval and can watch a bit of cricket and we can have a drink after or something.